Hello, Hawks. I'm Dr. James Campbell, principal at Seminole Ridge Community High School. The school district of Palm Beach County is preparing to welcome students back on the campuses on Monday, September 21st for the first time since March 13th. We know that COVID casts a shadow over that opening and is creating anxiety for many of you in the school community, but we're nonetheless committed and excited to bring students back to the Ridge. Having students back on campus is a huge step towards making Seminole Ridge whole again. I know you're all wondering what steps we have taken to address the safety concerns that come from COVID. This video will provide a look into how our daily operations will be handled. On September 11th, I emailed a letter out to all families sharing some of the steps that are being taken district-wide to prepare schools. Now, I want to share what's being done at Seminole Ridge. Our planning process has focused on the areas of safety, instruction, and procedures. We know that safety is paramount and that teaching and learning cannot take place successfully when students and staff are worried about safety concerns. Addressing those concerns begins before students and staff even leave their homes. No one should come to campus if they are exhibiting signs of COVID-19. Parents, please screen your children at home and keep them home if they have a temperature of 100.4 degrees or higher. Make it clear to them the importance of following all procedures relating to health and safety. Our day begins with the arrival of students. Those coming on buses need to follow the directions of the bus driver, including wearing a mask and sitting in assigned seats. Students being transported by car will be dropped off in the car line. Students who drive will park in their assigned spaces. We're encouraging student drivers to remain in their cars rather than heading into the courtyard to wait for the bell to ring. Of course, they need to exit their car with enough time to make it to their class on time. All students will enter campus either through the bus loop gates or the main gates at the front of the school. Staff will check to ensure that students are wearing IDs and masks. We understand that not all students have their IDs yet. We will issue IDs for those who need them in the first few days of class. However, everyone must have a mask from day one. School board policy requires all students to wear face coverings at all times, with the exception of eating and drinking during mealtimes. All face coverings, whether disposable or reusable, must be made with at least 3 layers of breathable material, fit snugly but comfortably against the side of the face, and be secured with ties or ear loops, allowing the students to remain hands-free. At this time, based on guidance from health authorities, neck gaiters, open chin triangle bandanas, and mesh material, valves, or holes of any kind are not acceptable face coverings. Please note facial coverings are an addition to, not a substitute for, the required social distancing. Students should give each other adequate space while waiting for the first bell to ring at 7:24, directing them to their first class. When they arrive to class, they will find that desks have been spaced for social distancing. The School District of Palm Beach County is taking action to protect the health, safety, and welfare of students and personnel. Certain measures will be needed to reduce the risk of exposure and spread of COVID-19. All schools will begin with student desks at 6 feet apart. As the need arises to place additional students in classrooms, schools will follow guidance as outlined by the CDC and the American Academy of Pediatrics. For several years, Seminole Ridge has followed a set of universal expectations organized around the acronym SOAR. We have revised those expectations to align with COVID-19. S stands for Safety First. O for Observe Social Distancing. A for Always Wear Your Mask. And R for Remember to Wash Your Hands. Keeping these expectations in mind will ensure that united we soar. In addition to the desk spacing, all teachers will be required to keep seating charts for all classes in order to facilitate any contact tracing that is needed. Because classrooms are set up for social distancing, there are limits to the number of students who can physically be in each class. Fortunately, most classes can accommodate the students currently enrolled. However, there are exceptions. In the event that more students arrive to class than there are available seats, some students will be sent to an overflow room, currently the auditorium. Students in the overflow room will log into class as they did during distance learning for that period. Teachers will track which students go to the overflow room so that it's not the same students the next class. I realize this is not ideal, but we have to adhere to a limited seating capacity. However, if your student goes to the overflow room during third period, for instance, they will definitely get a seat in their third period class the next time it meets. There are times when students need to leave the classroom, whether it is to go to the restroom or to see a counselor. This year we will use paper passes. When the students return to class, they will drop the pass in a bag that we will keep in case we need to use it for contact tracing. Seminole Ridge is a large campus, but we still have areas where the flow of people is restricted, so we've designed a traffic flow pattern in the buildings to improve safety. Here's an overview of the campus. At the beginning of the day, students may be going in 8 different directions for their first class. When they arrive at their building, traffic flow in the buildings will be one way. Most of our buildings have 2 sets of doors to enter and exit. When facing the building, the left set of doors will be enter only and the right set will be exit only to reduce any cross traffic. Inside the buildings, traffic should flow in a clockwise direction. We've all likely been in stores that have established similar one-way flows. This is the same concept. On your screen is what it looks like in buildings 5, 6, and 7 downstairs. Buildings 3 and 8 will have the same one-way flow. Building 4 downstairs is our media center that has only one entrance and exit, and the same is true in Building 9. This map of Building 2 only applies to those attending band classes. Upstairs 3 and 4, and 5, 6, and 7 have the same one-way pattern seen earlier. Additionally, there is a covered walkway around the entire courtyard. We have painted lines on the ground to facilitate two-way traffic in those outside corridors, both upstairs and downstairs. We are also asking students to stay to the right when using the stairs. There will be arrows painted on the ground to assist. To assist with the cleaning and sanitation needs during the school day, an additional custodian will work during the day to monitor and clean high-touch surfaces and ensure bathrooms remain stocked with supplies. For every classroom, we have ordered a hand sanitizer dispenser, cleaning wipes, and a spray bottle with disinfectant and microfiber cloths. In this section, we'll review the daily schedule. Starting September 21st, we will resume our normal bell schedule. The change from distance learning schedule is around lunches. We will have 2 lunch periods. You can see the schedule here, and it is attached to the email that included the link to this video. Serving lines in the cafeteria will have signage promoting social distancing. Cafeteria tables are marked to indicate which seats may be used. All of our students will not be able to sit in the cafeteria at the same time, but many of them are used to eating in the courtyard already. We have added some additional seating space in the courtyard. During meal times, we will continually remind students to practice social distancing. We will have a staggered dismissal at the end of each school day, which will rotate between the buildings to have the least impact on instructional time as possible. Our school nurse is a critical part of our daily operations, and even more so during this health crisis. To ensure our nurses' availability during the school day, we are asking students to only visit the clinic for major issues, such as an injury that occurs during the school day, or to take required medication. We cannot have the nurse spending a great deal of time addressing minor issues rather than attending to potential COVID issues. In the event that a student comes to school and presents with COVID symptoms, they will be escorted to a holding room until the clinic is clear. The nurse will then screen the student and determine if the student is okay to return to class or if they need to go home. If a student is sent home, they will be escorted to an isolation room until their parent picks them up. The nurse and administration will coordinate with the health department to notify impacted students and personnel. We will follow all directives from the health department in relation to any notifications. As a parent, if you ever need to keep your child home because they may have been exposed outside of school, we ask that you notify us. If you need to drop off medication for your student to the clinic, you can do so between 7 and 3 starting September 16th. Almost done, but still a little bit left to share. Because we will have a mixture of students on campus and attending virtually simultaneously, students coming to campus will need to bring their devices. They should charge them overnight, but bring the charging cables just in case they're needed. If a student does not have a device to bring, we will distribute devices as quickly as possible. In the first week or so, we will deal with the textbook needs of students on campus and reach out to our virtual students to address their textbook needs. We still have the requirement from the state to hold safety drills such as fire and lockdown, but are adjusting those to limit the number of students involved at the same time. I understand this is a great deal of information and that there are likely additional questions to be answered. Please feel free to reach out to me or any of our administrators to address any lingering questions. You can find our email addresses at www.seminoleridge.org. We look forward to welcoming our students back to campus on Monday. Until then, be safe, be well, and go Hawks!